Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of shrimp farming. But we're not just looking at the shrimp. Nope. We're going way smaller. We're talking about the billions of invisible, microscopic partners that live in and around every single shrimp. And as you'll see, they might just hold the key to the entire industry. So let me just start with this question. What if I told you that the difference between a farm thriving and a complete disaster hinges on something you can't even see with the naked eye? Well, that's the mystery we're going to solve together in this explainer. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to meet these invisible partners. Then, we'll explore the two main arenas where they operate. We'll see what happens when the good guys lose control, and then we'll get into the really cool part, how we can actually use microbes to fight disease. And finally, we'll take a look at what's next on this incredible microbial frontier. Okay, let's dive right in. There's this one central concept that is completely flipping our understanding of how to raise healthy shrimp. You have to get this. A shrimp isn't just a shrimp. It's what scientists now call a holobiont. And this idea is a total game changer. You need to stop thinking of it as one animal and start thinking of it as a walking, swimming ecosystem. A superorganism. It's the shrimp plus its entire crew of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes, all working together as a single unit. The health of that whole team is everything. And this microbial team operates in two really important, interconnected arenas. There's the world inside the shrimp's gut, and then there's the world of the water it's swimming in. So let's break down these two worlds, because you'll see it's the constant dance between what's happening inside and what's happening outside that really determines a shrimp's destiny. An easy way to think about it is like this. The gut microbiome, that's the shrimp's personal internal guardian, its security team. And the water microbiome, well, that's the neighborhood the shrimp lives in. And as we all know, your neighborhood can have a huge impact on your health. And that internal guardian is busy. Let me tell you, it's a digestion machine, breaking down nutrients the shrimp couldn't handle on its own. It's like a little vitamin factory. And maybe most important, it forms a living shield, a physical barrier that literally blocks bad guys from getting a foothold, all while it's also training the shrimp's immune system, getting it ready for a fight. Now, let's look at that external neighborhood. The water is this dynamic microbial soup. It's constantly being shaped by temperature, what you're feeding, the type of system you're using. And here's the kicker. Shrimp are constantly taking this water in. So there's this nonstop conversation happening between the outside world and that internal guardian. The neighborhood is always knocking at the door. So you can see this balance is absolutely crucial. But what happens when it's shattered? What happens when the good guys get overwhelmed? Well, that breakdown has a name, dysbiosis. And this isn't just about one bad pathogen showing up. It's a total collapse of the community. Think of it like a microbial civil war inside the shrimp. The beneficial bacteria are wiped out, and that leaves the door wide open for opportunistic pathogens to just take over. And for the shrimp, the results are devastating. Let's make this real with a powerful example. One of the worst shrimp diseases out there is called AHPND. It's nasty. It attacks a vital organ in the shrimp, and when it hits, it's like a wildfire. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. In a healthy shrimp, you see high diversity, lots of different good guys doing their jobs. But in an AHPND-infected shrimp, it's a wasteland. The diversity has completely collapsed, the community is gone, and one bad actor, in this case Vibrio, has taken over everything. The outcome? Widespread death. And the scale of this collapse is just staggering. We're talking about a drop in microbial diversity of more than 50%. Can you imagine if over half the species in a rainforest just vanished overnight? That's the level of ecological catastrophe we're talking about, just on a microscopic scale. For the shrimp, it's pretty much a death sentence. Okay, but it is not all doom and gloom. Not at all. Because the really exciting part of this story is that now that we understand the problem, we're learning how to fight fire with fire by using good microbes to restore that balance. And there are three main tools in this new arsenal. You've got probiotics, that's like sending in the cavalry, adding live, helpful bacteria directly. Then you have prebiotics, that's like airdropping supplies specifically for your good guys to help them grow strong. And finally, you can go big and completely re-engineer the external neighborhood with systems like BioFlock. BioFlock systems are they're brilliant. Here's how it works. You add a carbon source to the water, which basically fuels a population boom of good bacteria. They grow in these little clumps called flocks, and these flocks do two incredible things at once. They recycle shrimp waste into a natural protein-rich food source, and they create so much competition for space and nutrients that the bad bacteria just get crowded out. So, where is all this heading? Well, as much as we've learned, it's pretty clear that we are just scratching the surface of this massive, invisible universe. These are the huge questions that are driving all the research right now. We still don't have a perfect blueprint for a healthy microbiome. We're still trying to figure out if dysbiosis is the cause of a disease or just a symptom. And the real holy grail? Developing fast, cheap tests that farmers can use right there at the pond to get a real-time checkup on their microbial health. This quote from the research just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly sums up the massive shift in thinking that's happening. If you want to succeed in aquaculture now, you can't just be an animal farmer. You have to be an ecosystem manager. And that brings us to one last really big thought. This isn't just about growing shrimp more effectively. This is about finding new, more sustainable ways to produce food for a growing planet, maybe without relying so much on things like antibiotics. So by mastering these tiny, invisible ecosystems, could we be unlocking one of the keys to feeding the world? It's a pretty amazing thought. Thanks so much for watching.